Hello, and congratulations on your purchase of Fontes and Pinnell Leveled Literacy Intervention System. In this segment, you're going to have a brief overview and an introduction into everything that went into the development of Leveled Literacy Intervention. But let's first start with the experts, Dr. Irene Fontes and Dr. Gesu Pinnell. These two really don't need any introduction and are truly experts in their field. And you know the impact that their 25 years of work has had on our education system. But they continue to write and create materials, research-based materials, designed to improve the instruction in our classrooms and also to raise that level of expertise of the teacher, because it's all about a powerful, knowledgeable instructor that makes all the difference in the world. And as they start to look at some of the issues and things that are going on in the classroom, they said, why is it that at the beginning of the year, we do a formal assessment, we assess every student, and we place them. So you have your students that are above average, you have your average students, and then you have your struggling students. Those struggling students that are in the low group, and they continue to stay in the low group year after year after year. And they took a look at that and said, why is that? What is the issue? We don't want to see the same children year after year after year. And you could argue that they do make progress, and they do. However, the issue is it is not at an accelerated pace that allows them to catch up with their peers and function at grade level. So this is what prompted them to create Leveled Literacy Intervention. And they started to review and research, is it the tools that we're using? Is it what we're saying? Is it how we're saying it? Taking a look at all of these things is how they created Leveled Literacy Intervention. So let's take a look at the system. First of all, Leveled Literacy Intervention is a very structured, intensive intervention, would fit in your Tier 2 or Tier 3 for RTI. At first glance, it appears as if it's scripted. It is not intended to be scripted. The whole idea is to have that common language and common goals. So these kids are seeing the same things. They're working toward the same goals, and that reduces confusion. You don't want to go to one teacher and hear one thing, and then to the reading coach and hear another. So it's that consistent language and consistent goals that are key in reaching struggling students. Now let's take a look at the system across the board. So here what you're looking at is a chart that shows the system as a whole. In orange is grade K. We have levels A, B, and C. They're going to spend 20 lessons at a level, but in kindergarten they're going to begin with 10 getting started. When they move on to green, or grade 1, they will also have 10 getting started lessons, and then they will spend 10 lessons at every level. The other thing that you'll notice on this chart is the booster pack. You see that in kindergarten and first grade. As we move on into grade 2, which is blue, you no longer have the 10 getting started, and you will now spend 10 lessons at each level, C through N. When we move on to grades 3, 4, and 5, that would be red, gold, and purple, it will take us all the way up to a level W. And by grade 3, when you think about that instructional gap, and by that I mean we've assessed the child and they're here, but they need to be here. What happens in between? How do we get them there? How do we close that gap and get them on level with their peers with this intervention? So now by grade 3, that gap is getting a little larger and taking a little longer to close, and it's more difficult to do it. So you now have more time, and you're going to spend 24 lessons at a level, starting in grade 3, 4, and 5, and you will have an additional 4 lessons that focus on a novel study at the end of each level. So that bumps it up to 28 lessons at a level. As you're looking across the board at these levels, you see an overlap of levels. So let's talk about that, because you think, couldn't I really just go with, say, the green system or the blue system? It covers a lot of the different levels. Couple of reasons for this. Not only are they leveled by the Fontes and Pinnell text level gradient, but also by the maturity level and the interest level of the student. Now, that being said, let's say I am a first grade teacher. I'm using the green system and I finish at my level F. And I'm just not comfortable. I have a group of students that I feel not quite ready to go on to the next level. I would like just a few more lessons to solidify that level. Could I use the level F from the blue system? Yes, you definitely can. Would it still be based on the 10 text characteristics that make it a level F? Yes, it will. It will be a different story, different book, so a fresh way to look at the behaviors that should happen at a level F. Let's go on to that text level gradient. This is the most frequently used leveling system out there because it is the most comprehensive. Gay and Irene understand when you're leveling a book, it's so much more than how many letters in a word and how many words on the page. They actually look at 10 text characteristics that truly make that book a level D or a level F. So it looks at all of these things that a proficient reader uses when they are looking at a book. So this text level gradient is a common thread that you're going to see running throughout. But let's keep in mind, we are not teaching a level, we are teaching a child. This leveling system is simply a tool that helps us to help these children. And it's about putting the properly leveled tool in that child's hand. Because Gay and Irene would tell you we really shouldn't have struggling readers. If they're struggling, that simply tells us one thing. That book is too difficult. And if that book is too challenging, it's not going to allow us to accurately and efficiently teach them. That concludes our introduction into leveled literacy intervention.